Good evening. Ira Epstein with your financial market wrap-up, and this wrap-up is for Wednesday, the 14th of September, 2022, about 5:53 p.m. Central Time. My brain's going already. I'm in the morning. I apologize for that. When we look at what's going on, you have the rail strike threat starting to shut things down all over the country. Trains that were departing on the East Coast for the West Coast with passengers, they're canceling those. Grain shipments being canceled, ammonia shipments being canceled. They don't want to get trains caught wherever they're at. The late reports that I read said that it's no longer about pay, it's about absenteeism. I have no idea what that means. What the unions want and what the railroads are willing to accept, who knows? But because Congress is likely to get involved if there is a strike, be careful here. You know, this is not going to go on long. Congress, if they get together, can order them back to work, lickety-split. It goes that fast. But once you start shutting schedules down and you start doing this, got to get it back up. There's loss, there's momentum loss right here, supply chain issues that all come at you. Now, today was pretty much a whipsaw day in the stock market. Why do you think that is? Because after a day where you break as much as you did, let's go 3.5% to 5% roughly, markets like to consolidate, sometimes get back one of those percentage points before they decide are they going to attack those lows one more time. I've seen this before. That could be just what this market wants to do. So be careful with that. Something I want to do before we get too far. Tomorrow is going to be what? Tomorrow's Thursday. Well, Thursday means I'm having my live webinar. So before I continue with all this, if at any point you should have gotten, if you're on my mailing list, the invite. If you didn't get the invites, just take your cursor, move it to the top of here, any point, and you'll see an icon. Give it a click, fill out the paperwork, and away you go. If you have questions, you can also call my staff. They'll work with you at 866-973-2077. Bring your questions, but when you sign up, you'll notice in your response from the sign up, your password and ID, and my email address is there. That's where you can write me the questions. You send them to me. Give me a chance to set them up. Here's what I make you a promise. I'm never going to be able to do all the work you want me to do on spiders, ETFs, and stocks to get them all covered if you don't do it ahead of time, because I want to put on window envelopes and all. And I don't keep thousands upon thousands of stocks. I mean, each one has to be done by hand in order to put the different studies that I put on. So send them to me ahead of time. Give me a chance to build them. I will. They go fast. But during the webinar, it's going to be fast-paced. People ask a lot of questions. It moves, folks. It's only 20 minutes long, 12:30 p.m. Central Time. I open it. I open about 12:15, but I start it then. I finish it at 12:50. I record it. You do not get to see the recording. I keep it for the regulatory purposes. I believe if you want to attend these, you attend them. If you can't, there's going to be another one. You work your schedule out. And I do a lot of rotation between Wednesdays and Thursdays. Okay, so you got my talk on that. I don't know if you were watching the stock market, but probably on the futures just before 3 o'clock, if you looked and you went out of the room about 15, 20 minutes ahead, the markets were all down. If you came back, they were all higher. I mean, that's how fast things are moving back and forth. Where are we fighting the battle? Oh, I'm so surprised at myself, patting myself. I said it would be likely the 18-week average of closes, and it was, and is. That's the battleground. By the way, last night I had a great time. I went to a Navy SEAL foundation for wounded Navy SEALs, the guys that fight and everything. All the bigwigs of Chicago were there. Mike Pompeo was there on stage. I had front row table with the people I was with. They're huge donors to this. Phenomenal. And, you know, he wants to run for president. It's very clear. He's very bright, very articulate. I was impressed. I don't know what else to say. I was definitely impressed. He's a nice man, very personable, had to have a bodyguard. There's that $1 million bounty on his head from the Iranians. So there are the bodyguards there. You see them. He's very approachable still in a setting like this. Very interesting. Okay. But as you look to see how this is all going through, well, you're looking at that right there at that, let's call it for all purposes, near the 40 level, just back and forth. Okay, you know what this market's looking at. The market's looking at the 3,900 level to see can things hold in there, because chartists think that that's an important number. I'm not in that camp. They're in that camp. I don't see on my type of chart what's so important with the 3,900 level. They apparently do, and okay, I can live with that. So they want to see this whole area hold. Why? Well, if you really look at what this market did, and it's pretty easy to see it, up until, and let's see if I can get this to move. I want it, because you'll see this on each one of the charts, and I won't do it on every one of them. But there's no denying that right through here you had lower highs, lower lows. Do you agree with that? If we look at where the market fell to, and we can do that with going by one more day, you were 3883 and a half, the 3,900 level. And from there, the market finally got through the highs here and broke the downtrend pattern that set itself in place here, and then picked up momentum after Jackson Hole, as we had that 8-minute and 30-second speech by Fed Chair Powell, where he was just going to keep raising interest rates, invoking the name of Volcker, not going to fall back into that pattern and trap that was set for Mr. Volcker. And you can see what happened. So we've come back and we've tested it. Not completely. That they want to see if that holds to get bullish. I am not in that camp. How does anyone think that this Fed chair is going to, after the October rate hike, let's assume he goes 75 basis points, suddenly going to deviate and go, oh, things are getting better, we'll be okay? Are you looking at the numbers that are coming out in PPI and CPI? You know and I know it takes time for interest rates, once you raise them, to get through the market. So the bulls that are looking at that are saying that's already occurred. I heard today that Kathy Wood's ARK investment just stepped in a major fashion and bought yesterday in a big way a lot of the market. Okay. And you might go, she's very right. But you do realize what her track record is this year. It's very wrong. So maybe she'll be a hero. But if she bought big and you go through that 3,900 level, then you're going back down here for a test of that June low. That's going to put that pretty much underwater. I'm not attacking her. That's not what I'm saying. I'm using the names of things that I'm reading about, and that's it. When I look at what the index here did, I could really move this red line over to that high. That's what I should have done. We have a lower low, higher high, and here's what I started pointing out to you that I'm fearful is going to happen. The 18-day average is going to cross and get under that 100. Will it cause, as it typically does, a move under the most recent low? That would be a retest of that 38.8330. You see that right there. The good news is, and there is good news, if you take that out, you're right into the Bollinger Band, and you know that I have no faith that you'll just instantly hit that and just keep going down. It could happen, but I don't believe that's going to be the case. So it's a tricky market right here. I see the resistance, I see the support, and I see that momentum is getting oversold. To get me super bearish, you'd have to embed the way you did here. You haven't even begun the process. When I go to the NASDAQ, I have the same type of story. We're just about to see 12,463 and a fraction, which is the 18-day average, get under the 100. If it does that and prices stay under it when it occurs, then we're setting up another test of that low. And again, the same scenario, the lower Bollinger Band is right there. You did it in the Dow. It just occurred. Let me bring you to this. This is how the market was last night, and I said, I think you're going to cross. Some of them can do it this week, early next week. There's the 18, the 100. With today's action, you now got them down, so you're bouncing. This is the low the market's going to challenge. Now, I don't know if it took that out today, okay? Maybe we should take a look together and see just where we're at with it. It won't hurt us. Let's get back there. I don't know myself. That low was 30,975. So we come on, we get into yesterday, we get in today. 30,890. It did it. Does it have to go lower? This is the tricky part. It doesn't. It's already taken that low out. As a chartist, I came up with these theories. God, I can't begin to tell you how many years ago. And you look at charts and you try to see does something happen over and over. It's very difficult. You can say, oh, I can run a computer and do it. I'm not that good of a computer programmer. Okay, if I could, I probably would have done that. But it's what I've observed. So we see that it's already done it. Momentum is down and oversold. Is it going to try to run there? Or is it going to say, I did it already? Here's what we know regardless. On the way back up, there's going to be a ton of resistance between 31,961 to 32,095. But if you get there, traders will be applauding and say, that break went absolutely nowhere. I can hear and read the press headlines. I can hear the people talking about it. In the Russell, did you get that to do? No, there's no setup like that on this chart. Rather, what this market is doing is fighting between the rally to the 18-day average down to the 100 and going nowhere in between. You have a higher high, lower and low scenario. When we get over to the VIX, are people buying insurance in any big way? Not really. Market is still sort of just sitting here. It's got layers of support starting at the 100-day, the 200, then the 18-day average of closes. Are we trending? No. Is it got resistance at the upper Bollinger Band? For sure, quite a bit of it. We then go to the 30-year bond, fully embedded still. So are the pros selling? Why not? They'll sell until that red line closes over 21. It'll eventually do it. But until it does, they'll sell the rallies and say each drop should still be going lower. What about in the 10-year note? Fully embedded as well. So is the 5-year. Today you hit another profit objective with yesterday. The Bollinger Band made lower lows. I think if you get a rally out of here, the pros are going to sell into that. In the dollar index, look at how narrow the black lines are becoming. They've gone from this big width to narrowing in dramatically. That's indicative of a churn in the market. I didn't say a top. I didn't say a bottom. I said a churn in the market. You're not trending here. You got a higher high, lower low, pretty much bordered by the Bollinger Bands, and markets like to stay within it. The longer it can go sideways here, the bigger the move out of it. But I'd like to see the bands narrow in even more. The narrower they get, the bigger the ultimate move. When we look at the euro, because 40% of the value of the dollar index is made of the euro, it should be doing something similar. Do you disagree? See what it's doing? Again, not trending. In the British pound, I am very much in the bear camp in this market. Are we out of an oversold condition? Not yet. Both numbers are still under 30. They're not under 20. So it's very hard for me to do anything. I mean, I told traders and you, I thought you'd have resistance on a rally back to the 18-day average. You hadn't lost the embedded reading. It called for that move. You did it. Now you're waiting to see what will happen on the next part. And on Bitcoin, just sort of going nowhere. You know that the merge is going on with Ethereum. We'll see if that has a price impact. Right now, you're about as neutral as you can be in Bitcoin and just not moving one way or the other at this point. Want to remind you, we have the webinar. Remember what I said, you can always call my staff. Take your cursor, move it to the top. You'll see the icon, give it a click, sign up, write me what you want me to cover for you. I'll do it, and I'll see you tomorrow at 12:30. You have a great day.